Mike Hathaway here for our second installment of building your Drupal environment, or really configuring a Linux server to run Drupal. This is kind of standalone because if someone hands you a Linux server or access to one and says, hey, set it up, these are the steps you would use to set that up. For us, we're going to be going back to our Linux environment we set up on a virtual machine in VirtualBox. Again, this is Ubuntu 10.04 LTS server. It has been installed with nothing but just SSH. So we're going to be installing all the pieces required to run Drupal. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do an app-get update to pull down all the possible updates for the machine. And of course, we need to use the sudo commands. So do as root. And again, our password is Drupal. Again, this development environment will be available for download at the bigdoglabs.com website attached to this podcast. So it's going to take a couple seconds to download all those updates. Well, actually, this is just a list of updates. Now we're going to do another command to install these updates. And we're going to go to sudo. We're going to use the aptitude program. And we're going to do a safe upgrade. So this will install things that it believes are safe to install. A bunch of packages. This is a brand new server we just installed, and there are a lot of updates for it already. So we'll just go ahead and allow it to download and install those updates. And then I'll hit the fast forward button and we'll move on. The next step we're going to do is to install the build essentials, which is what is required for installing, compiling software in the Linux environments. And we forgot to type in our install. Get that going. And again, another long install will have to go. For you wondering, I'm going off of my notes for this. My notes are published right below this actual video on the Big Dog Labs website. It is a step-by-step instruction of how to do everything that we're doing. You can use it as a reference to build your own. Alright, we've installed the build essentials. Now we're going to install the software we really need to run Drupal. So I'm going to do again, the sudo app-get install. And of course we need the Apache 2 server. We're also going to use the Apache 2 threaded-dev server, which allows a lot of our optimizing and speed updates to run. PHP 5 is important. We're going to need PHP 5-CLI, the command line interface for running Drush on this machine. We'll do PHP 5-dev, PHP pair for installing some other pieces, -gd, there's our image processor. Then we're going to install a MySQL server, and of course the postfix mail server, and PHP my admin so that I can set up the database without having to actually use command lines for it, even though I use command lines for everything else. So we'll just go ahead and let that start downloading all the pieces we need. A lot of packages are required. If you see here, just tons and tons of dependencies and other pieces. This is a fairly large install, so I'm going to hit yes and allow it to. Ooh, so do you want to import? So we'll try this one more time. Yes, and there it goes. At this point, I would highly recommend grabbing that carbonated beverage, coffee. In my case, I'm going to go pour the next iced tea, and we'll join you after the fade out and fade in for the next part of this. Moving on to the next step, as it's installing, it's going to ask us to do some things. First thing it's going to have us do is install our passwords for MySQL root user. We'll use the same thing we've been using for this virtual machine, which is Drupal. Just like that. Tell it to use the Apache 2 server. It's going to ask us, hey, what kind of mail server setup we're doing. This is, of course, an internet site. So I'm using a gateway 2-wire box, but I'll go ahead and do bigdoglabs.com for the mail server. It's going to have us configure the database for the PHP my admin. Again, we're going to use the exact same password as we've used for everything else. In this case, I'm using Drupal for the password. It'll ask us for MySQL password, Ask us to enter it all again. Done, so we can move on to the next step. That was the last of the big installs. Now we're going to start doing the little things we're required to do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use the A2 nmod or enable module in Apache 2, and we're going to enable the rewrite module. And then we're going to use A2 dismod. We're going to disable some modules in the Apache. CGI, not required for running Drupal. And auto index. For development environment, this might not be as important, but if you're going to be using this on a virtual machine up on the internet where you're paying for memory usage and all that kind of stuff, this makes it run faster and use less. We're then going to add the upload progress bar in Drupal. We're going to use the PECL or the pair library to add that. Let's see here, sudo, we'll try this one more time. We'll go sudo PECL install upload progress. Judging from the time it's taking, I think I got it right this time. There it goes. It's going to go ahead and install, compile. In order to, this is the part that requires those build essential libraries. It's actually, compiling the application for us versus just installing a package as we did initially with the package manager or the app-get install package. It's going to check, it's going to compile, and now it's done. So now when we upload files, we'll have that nice little upload progress bar that Drupal can show us. The next step we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with the the access files. Drupal runs off as an htaccess file. So we're going to go into the sites available folder. And we're going to edit the setup. I'm going to use the Nano word processor here. We're going to edit default, and we're going to change the allow override from none to all. This will make the server pay attention to the actual .htaccess file in the Drupal. Once we've done that, we're then going to go ahead and install APC. So this is another, and this isn't, again, it's required for development environment, but if you're going to use this for a server, you're going to want that opcode catch in there. Again, these are just ways we make Drupal run faster on a server. And you'll have to wait while it downloads and compiles the APC system for us. Just use the defaults as it asks. That's it. So now what we're going to do is go to the PHP area, and in PHP there's an Apache 2 folder, and in there there's a php.ini. We're going to edit this, and we're going to add the PHP modules that we've downloaded and installed on this computer, or on this virtual machine. So at the bottom, we're going to put extension, and we're going to do there's the ESO, and we'll also add the upload progress. Just like that. That's all we're going to put in there. Now we're going to enable 2 more Apache modules. A2 nmod expires, and we're going to also do the deflates nmod deflates. We're going to enable that one, which again, that goes compresses those JavaScripts and CSS files, deliver them out to everybody. Sudo just deflate. There we go. Now that we've done all this, the next step is going to be to install Drush and install Drupal. Drush is going to be its own video, so that's going to be the third part of the series. We're going to set Drush up on this system. So now what we've done is we've gone through and installed all the pieces required to run Drupal. You can go right into the /var/www directory and download Drupal, and it'll just run perfectly from this virtual machine. You can get going. So that's the second piece, or that's how we install all the required pieces onto a server to run Drupal. Once again, I am Mike Hathaway for the Big Dog Labs.
Some of the music provided from Mevo's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevo.com.